So, hi guys, this is our first live. I know I did a video about it earlier, so just waiting for us to go live. If anyone shows up, even if they don't, I'm still doing it and I'm going to record it and post it up on YouTube later. So, yeah, that's going to happen. We just got in, well, we got in box and 2 more boxes. So they're full of books and possibly other stuff. But definitely books. Because the big one came from Baker & Taylor, and that's who we order some of our books through. Another one came from Ingram, and that's another company that we order our books through. So let us start. If you have any questions, feel free to say them in the live. I will get to them eventually. Hopefully. And bear with me, this is my first time trying to do a live on TikTok, so try and get my hair out of the way. Box cutter. Now, I have no idea what's in here. So about that, my camera nearly took a spill. So there's no idea what is anything that could be in here. Bubbles in the top. Bubbles in the top. This one over here to Misty. Okay, now let's get started on some books. Okay, so I am going to have to flip the camera. Oh no, mirror my camera view. There we go. There we go. Now you'll be able to read the covers just as easily as I will. Okay. Sorry, like I said, this is our first try on here, so don't exactly have everything set up, and I'm not doing it in the usual place because I think we have better lighting in here. There we go. Okay, this first one is Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead. Huh, it's about a writer. And it sounds like it's a murder mystery, so. Barb Curtis, Only for You. Pretty cover with pretty sailboats. This may be the first one? I don't know if this is a series or not, but here's another Barb Curtis, Forever with You. Sound like romances, so. Oh, Sapphire Springs novels. Sounds like romances, not my cup of tea. The Recitative by Toni Morrison. I'll get them on here eventually. Written in 1980 and anthologized, so interesting. Winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. Interesting. Oh my, looks like a criminal book. Found by Michelle Cordell with Emily Sutherland. No one aspires to become the top story on the evening news, yet there Michelle Cordell was. Though her name was not divulged, viewers would learn that she was hit over the head near the entrance of her home, abducted, sexually assaulted, and forced into the trunk of her own car. This happened on September 12, 1996. So this is a true crime biography kind of novel. Nice. Well, the topic matter is not nice, but it's nice that she's able to write it. Lean on Me, Pat Simmons. Oh, we're actually getting people in. Hi, people. If you see anything you want me to talk about, or if you want me to stop, you can just let me know in the chat and I will try to keep up. Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manasala. A Tito Rosie's Kitchen mystery. When Lila Macapagal moves back home to recover from a horrible breakup, her life seems to be following all the traditional rom-com tropes. She's tasked with saving her Tito Rosie's failing restaurant, and she has to deal with a group of matchmaking aunties who shower her with love and judgment. Sound like that's up for anyone? But then, when a notoriously nasty food critic, who happens to be her ex-boyfriend, drops dead moments after a confrontation with Lila, her life quickly swerves from a Nora Ephron romp to an Agatha Christie case. So, okay. Stan Lee's The Devils Quintet, The Armageddon Code. It's a thriller. A 5-person special ops unit composed of a diverse assortment of Navy SEALs from all walks of life are responding to a terrorist threat deep in the Caucasus Mountains when their mission goes south in a big way. Facing certain death and torture, they are unexpectedly offered a Faustian bargain by the devil himself, who grants them unearthly powers to send evildoers to hell on his fiendish behalf. But the Devils Quintet do things their own way, fighting to protect America and the world, while trying their best not to let their new hellish abilities corrupt them beyond redemption, which may prove harder than they expect, especially when the devil is plotting nothing less than the end of days. Sounds kind of like a Ghost Rider plot. That's just me. The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. Gravekeeper number 1. So this is a new series by her. She hears them whispering. Homeless, hunted, and desperate to escape a bitter storm, Kara takes refuge in an abandoned groundkeeper's cottage, tucked away at the edge of a cemetery. It's surrounded on all sides by gravestones, some recent, some hundreds of years old, and all suffering from neglect. And in the darkness she can hear the unquiet dead whispering. Sound interesting to any of you guys? Let me adjust my camera just a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm just getting used to this camera setup. Okay, it's gonna look like this, and it's gonna cut off the top of my head. So yeah, I'm gonna have the top of my head cut off. Okay, the next book. The Cage by Bonnie Kistler. On a cold, misty Sunday night, 2 women are alone in the offices of fashion conglomerate Claudine de Martineau International. One is the company's human resources director, impeccably dressed and perfectly coiffed. She sits at her desk and stares somberly out the window. Down the hall, her colleague, one of the company's lawyers, is buried under a pile of paperwork, frantically rushing to finish. Leaving at the same time, the two women, each preoccupied with their own thoughts, enter the elevator that will take them down from the 30th floor. When they arrive at the lobby, one of the women is dead. Was it murder or suicide? So, anyone interested in that? Oh, hello, Maya. Hello, Maya. Let's see. Hey, tell me which of these books that you guys like so far. We've got a lot more to go. Think of Me by Frances Liardet. Okay, now this one. Oh, this is historical. It looks like maybe a historical romance. An Epic Love, A Second Chance. 1942, Alexandria, Egypt. Covered in dust, Yvette and James hold hands for the first time as bombs explode above them. As World War II rages on, they will find their way back to each other. Time and again. Their love a beacon for their survival. After the war, they make a life together in England where happiness takes root and blossoms, until a tragic event drives a wedge between them. The path back to one another is uncharted territory that both must be brave enough to face. 1974 England. So I guess this one's going to be told in maybe 2 points of view? I don't know. You have to tell me if any of you guys read this. 1974 England. 10 years after his wife's death, James moves to the English village of Upton seeking change. There he discovers a scarf that lights the dark edges of his memory. Could it be Yvette's? As James makes a new home for himself, he begins to unlock revelations about his past that might just return his lost faith to him. Faith in humanity, faith in himself, and perhaps most importantly, his faith in love. Captivating, inspiring, Think of Me explores the power of love to echo across the years and its power to save. Ooh. Interesting. The Impossible Imposter by Diana Rayborn. It's a Veronica Speedwell mystery. While investigating a man claiming to be the long-lost heir to a noble family, Veronica Speedwell gets the surprise of her life in this new adventure from New York Times best-selling and Edgar Award-nominated Diana Rayborn. London, 1889. Veronica Speedwell and her natural historian Beau Stoker are summoned by Sir Hugo Montgomery, head of Special Branch. He has a personal request on behalf of his goddaughter, Euphemia Hathaway. Years after traveling the world, her eldest brother Jonathan, the heir to Hathaway Hall, was believed to have been killed in the catastrophic eruption of Krakatoa a few years before. But now a man matching Jonathan's description and carrying his belongings has arrived at Hathaway Hall with no memory of his identity or where he has been. Could this man truly be Jonathan, back from the dead? Or is he a devious imposter determined to gain ownership of the family's most valuable possession? A legendary... Don't you hate it when you come across a word that you don't know how to pronounce? Parure? Parure? P-A-R-U-R-E. If anyone can tell me what that is, let me know. Of priceless Rajasthani jewels, it's a delicate situation and Veronica is Sir Hugo's only hope. Veronica and Stoker agree to go to Hathaway Hall to covertly investigate the mysterious amnesiac. Veronica is soon shocked to find herself face to face with a ghost from her past. To help Sir Hugo discover the truth, she must open doors to her own history that she long believed to be shut for good. Coffee. Well, don't shut espresso. Let's see, any of these books appeal to anyone yet? let me know if any of these, like, you like them, or they go poof and you go in your head and you're like, oh, great. This next one is Silver Creek Fire by Lindsay McKenna, a Silver Creek novel. Debut novel in a riveting new series of romantic suspense from New York Times bestselling author Lindsay McKenna. Love's flame burns bright. Leanna Ryan's hometown in coastal Oregon has been her refuge ever since a traumatic event during her teens. But over time, even the safest harbor can start to feel more like a prison. That's why Leah, a master carpenter and wood sculptor, is moving to Wyoming, a place whose rugged beauty has long captured her imagination. The scenery around Silver Creek is as stunning as she hoped. And her new employer, Logan Anderson, is generous and fair, though his eyes reveal a sadness she recognizes all too well. Logan immediately knows he can trust Leia with his Wild Goose Ranch remodeling project. Her skill, her dedication, they're as appealing to him as her unaffected beauty. But he has other reasons for unease. There have been disturbing events around the ranch. Then Leia's car is rammed in a hit and run. Logan has already lost so much. Now he fears he's jeopardizing not only his property, but Leia too. His dream is to convince Leia to make Silver Creek her home. But first, he'll have to keep her safe. So, interesting. Again, not my cup of tea. I'm not much for romance books. Although the thriller plotline sounds really good to me. Okay, this next one. One Night on the Island by Josie Silver. Okay. One cottage, two strangers, the start of a great love story. Spending her 30th birthday alone is not what dating columnist Cleo Wilder wanted, but she plans a solo retreat at the insistence of her boss, in the name of re-energizing herself and adding a new perspective to her column. The remote Irish island she's booked is a far cry from London, but at least it's a chance to hunker down in a luxury cabin and indulge in some self-care while she figures out the next steps of her love life and career. Max Sullivan is also looking forward to some time to himself. With his life in Boston deteriorating in ways he can't bring himself to acknowledge, his soul searching has brought him to the same island to explore his Irish roots and find some clarity. Unfortunately, a mix-up with the bookings means both have reserved the same hideaway on exactly the same dates. And there was one cabin. Instantly at odds, Cleo and Mac don't know how they're going to manage until the next weekly ferry arrives. But as the days go by, they no longer seem to mind the other's company quite as much as they thought they would. It's the one bed trope. Instead of the one bed, it's one cabin. Not my cup of tea. Cover's pretty though. And when I say it's not my cup of tea, I'm not like railing against other people who might, like it. But, hang on, I'm doing some changing stuff up so I can hopefully get more. Okay. Sorry, I had to do a real quick check on that. Okay, on to our next book in the pile. As you can see, we're slowly whittling our way through. We're about halfway through the first box. We still have another smaller box and then a even smaller box. So we're almost to the next box. Oh, Lindsay McKenna, Strength Under Fire. Again, let me know if any of these sound interesting to you, or just say hi. Come on, people, talk to me. Come on. Bereft after the brutal loss of her parents, Dana Scott sinks nearly every dime of her inheritance into buying Wildflower Ranch, believing that once she restores the rustic cabin and farms the untamed acreage, her soul will be whole once more. Hiring Wrangler Colin Gallagher to help out just makes sense. But as she works side by side with the handsome loner, she feels an unexpected kinship and a longing for connection that she believed lost to her forever. Colin is only in Silver Creek long enough to make some money and move on. Restless, spiritually broken, the former Army Ranger has nothing left to give after his harrowing time in battle. But helping Dana make a life for herself has him yearning for more. Until the domestic terrorists that destroyed Dana's family catch up with her, determined to silence her forever. It's a threat that has Colin calling on all his considerable training to keep the woman who has taken a hold of his heart. To keep safe the woman who has taken a hold of his heart. Well, that did a swift turn. I was not expecting domestic terrorism in a romance novel. Another Linda McKenna. Another Silver Creek novel. Okay, let's see. We've had someone trying to run someone off the road. Domestic terrorists. What do you think this one's going to have? Seeking an escape from her dark past, Carissa Taylor heads to Silver Creek to build a new life. For Carrie, landing a job at a historic ranch just outside of town is a dream come true, and a chance to put her beekeeping expertise to work. Beekeeper this time. Not only does she feel at home in the ruggedly beautiful landscape, but she's intensely drawn to rancher Chase Bishop, whose strong, steadfast nature quiets her unease. Maybe here she can finally be more than a hunted woman fleeing a vengeful killer, a man who's been after her nearly all her life. Chase didn't dare open his heart again after losing his first love until Carrie entered his life. Her gentle beauty and nurturing spirit called to him like no other. So, when her estranged stepbrother breaks out of prison and comes prowling around Chase's ranch... Okay, so now we have a murderer. That's her brother, stepbrother. The former Marine goes into full protective mode, offering Carrie the shelter of his home, but as the murderer's deadly threats draw even closer, suddenly Chase is calling on his own killer instincts, knowing he will stop at nothing to keep safe the woman who has captured his soul. Isn't that pretty? And, well, yeah. Maybe we'll change over to daily life. I'm hoping to just get more people watching. If you guys are watching, let me know. Leave a note. Leave a hello. I'll give you a call out. Just please let us know that you are watching. Homicide and Hallow Hallow. Tia Rosie's kitchen. Things are heating up for Lila Macapagal. Not in her love life, which she insists keeping non-existent despite the attention of two very eligible bachelors. We have a love triangle, people. We have a love triangle. Or in her professional life, since she can't bring herself to open her new cafe after the unpleasantness that occurred a few months ago at her aunt's Filipino restaurant, Tito Rosie's Kitchen. That was previously in our very long list. Basically, a food critic gets murdered and she gets blamed, and it's gonna be a thing. This must be book number 2. To add, no, things are heating up quite literally since summer. Lila's least favorite season has just started. To add to her feelings of sticky unease, Lila's little town of Shady Palms has resurrected the Miss Teen Shady Palms pageant, which she won many years ago, a fact that serves as a wedge between Lila and her cousin/rival, Bernadette. But when the head judge of the pageant is murdered, and Bernadette becomes the main suspect, the two must put aside their differences and solve the case, because it looks like one of them might be next. Okay, that kind of reminds me of a Jonah DeLeon novel. One of the Swamp Team 3 novels. I think it's number 2 is the one that has the beauty pageant. That one's good. So I'm going to be reading those when, we get them put in the catalog. I'll be handing these off to our cataloger. She'll put them in the catalog. Then they go on to the label cartridge, one of which is right behind me. And then someone will put labels on them. We'll check them into the system, and they get to go out onto our new bookshelf. So give us a couple weeks, and we'll get them out there. or whenever their release date is. Because sometimes we get books in advance of the release date, but we can't put it out on the shelf until the release date, but we can get them all cataloged and stuff. So that happens a lot with like the big, huge bestsellers. So, hello, new person who just joined us. Hi. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I am doing an unboxing video and reading all of the summaries of the books that we have just got in. So, if any of them sound interesting, let me know. Okay, next is, if you have any questions about what it's like working in the library, I can answer those too, or if I can't, I can drag one of my coworkers into this. Please make me drag one of them into this. Okay. Catch Her When She Falls by Alison Buckola. 10 years ago, my boyfriend killed my best friend. It's gonna be one of those novels. Okay. When Mika Wilkes was a senior in high school, her boyfriend was convicted of murdering her best friend, Emily, a star ballerina with a bright future. A decade later, Mika has finally moved on from the unforgettable betrayal and loss. Now the owner of a bustling coffee shop in her small Pennsylvania hometown, she's happily coupled with another old high school friend, the two having bonded over their shared sorrow. I have an idea of where this is going. But when reminders of the past start appearing at her work and home, Micah begins to doubt what she knows about Emily's death. Questions raised on a true crime blog and in a web sleuthing forum force her to re-examine her memories of that fateful night. She told the truth to the investigators on the case. But was there another explanation for Emily's murder? A stranger in the woods? An obsessive former classmate? A domineering ballet instructor? Or the internet's favorite suspect, Joshua, Emily's outcast younger brother who hasn't been seen since his sister's death. As Mika delves deeper into the case, she feels her grip on reality loosening, her behavior growing more and more secretive and unhinged. As she races to piece together the truth about that night 10 years ago, Mika grapples with how things could have gone so wrong and wonders whether she might be next to disappear. Okay. Next one. Wish You Were Gone by Kieran Scott. Emma Walsh's looks great on the outside marriage is at the breaking point. And she's finally worked up the courage to confront her husband, James, about his drinking, his alcoholic rages, his blackouts, the uncertainty and fear his behavior created for her and their two kids. Wonderful domestic violence. But James never shows up to meet her as planned, and all her righteous words go unsaid. And unsaid they remain because the next time Emma sees James, his body is laying in his final resting place, crumpled amidst the wreckage of his flashy car, which is lodged halfway through the back wall of their suburban house's roomy garage. The aftermath of the fatal crash, she and her teenage children, Kelsey and Hunter, begin to imagine life without the looming volcanic pressure of their husband and father. Buoyed by the support of her two closest friends, Emma struggles to deal with her grief, complicated by the knowledge that James's legacy as an upstanding business owner and family man shines only because so many people were willing for so long to keep his secrets. Secrets that twist into new and unexpected shapes as the mysterious details of his last day of life begin to come to light. Well, that one's going to be interesting. Oh, we're getting down to the bottom of this last box. Okay, we're gonna go in pop culture. The Ex-Husband by Karen Hamilton. It's an offer she can't refuse and might not survive. Okay, is it just me, or does that line get used a lot? An offer she can't refuse. Charlotte has an unsavory past, but she's on the straight and narrow these days. She was so young then. She married the wrong man, falling for Sam's sweet-talking charm and charisma, and got caught up in his con artist games. If only she'd left him before things went too far. Now Sam is missing. But before he disappeared, he left urgent, cryptic messages about someone threatening him, someone who's been threatening Charlotte, too. So Charlotte takes a job as a personal assistant for an engagement party aboard a private luxury cruise ship, the Cleobella, to get far away from anyone who means her any harm. But as the Cleobella sails through its glittering destinations, increasingly sinister events haunt the guests. And the turquoise waves and sun-drenched beaches give way to something darker. Someone knows what Charlotte did. Is it the blushing bride, the seemingly placid mother-in-law, or the mysterious heiress? Someone knows, and someone wants revenge before the ship reaches its final port. The End of Getting Lost by Robin Kerman. The year is 1996, a time before cell phones, online status updates, and location tags, when you could still travel to the remote corner of the world and disappear if you chose to. This is where we meet Gina and Duncan, a young artistic couple madly in love, traveling around Europe on a romantic adventure. It's a time both thrilling and vertiginous. Vertiginous? Another word that I cannot figure out how to pronounce. For Gina, who must also contend with her disorientation following a head injury and the growing sense that the man at her side, her one companion on this strange continent, is keeping secrets from her. Just what is Duncan hiding, and how far will he go to keep their pasts at bay? As the pair hop borders across Europe, their former lives threatening to catch up with them, while the truth grows more elusive. We witness how love can lead us astray and what it means to lose oneself in love. Interesting. Ooh, what is this one? The Lady's Mind by Francine Rivers. Ooh, could be a cowboy book. 1875, when Catherine Walsh arrives in tiny Calvada, a mining town nestled in the Sierra Nevadas, falling in love is the furthest thing from her mind. Banished from Boston by her wealthy stepfather, she has come to claim an inheritance from the uncle she never knew, a defunct newspaper office on a main street overflowing with brothels and saloons, and a seemingly worthless mine. Moved by the oppression of the local miners and their families, Catherine decides to relaunch her uncle's paper, and then finds herself in the middle of a maelstrom, pitted against Calvada's most powerful men. But Catherine intends to stay and publish whatever she pleases, especially when she knows she's right. Matthias Beck, owner of a local saloon and hotel, has a special interest in the new lady in town. He instantly recognizes C.T. Walsh's same tenacity in the beautiful and outspoken redhead, and knows all too well how dangerous that family trait can be. While Catherine may be right about Calvada's problems, her righteousness could also get her killed. But when the handsome hotelier, keeps finding himself on the same side of the issues as the opinionated Miss Walsh, Matthias's relentless search for purpose becomes all about answering the call of his heart. Everyone may be looking to strike it rich in this lawless boomtown, but it's love more precious than gold that will ultimately save them all. Aww. Okay, that was all the books in this box. I'm going to put them back in the box, and then I'm going to move that over to our cataloger's desk so she can do her fancy magic stuff. To get those in the catalog for us. And then they'll go on to one of the people who does the labeling. And then they'll label them, and then they will get put out on the shelves when they're supposed to be out on the shelves. I don't know if some of these have release dates that aren't already here and gone. That happens sometimes with us. We get, especially if it's a book that that's been waiting to come out for several months, maybe even a year, we could end up getting the book before it's actually out. And we can't put it out on the shelf until its release date, but we can get it into our catalog before then. Just makes it so much easier. And that's another layer of confusion. So I will be back in just a minute. Why are books so heavy? Up we go. And over and down. Okay, where did that box cutter? Okay, we adjust this down so you guys can see it when it opens. Good enough. Box cutter, be careful with these kids, they are sharp. Slicey, slicey. Slicey, slicey, and slicey, slicey. Slicey, slice, slice. Remember, kids, don't play with box cutters. I am a professional. Professional what? I don't know. Alright, y'all, I'm going to leave you staring at the books for just a second. I've got to go help out up front with a patron. So, have fun looking at the books. I will be back in just a minute. Sorry about that, folks. We are a little bit busy today. At times. They come in waves. Okay, hi to the people watching. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And say hi. I'll give you a shout out. If any of these books looks good to you, they will be out on the shelf as soon as we can get them out. Okay. This first one is a true crime book. When the Killer Calls, a haunting story of murder, criminal profiling, and justice in a small town. Best-selling authors of Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. On May 31st, 1985, it was 2 years before I was born, 2 days before her high school graduation, Sherry Smith was abducted from the driveway of her family home in South Carolina. Based on the crime scene, the abductors' repeated taunting phone calls to the family, law enforcement quickly realized they were dealing with a sophisticated and highly dangerous criminal. The abduction rocked her quiet town, triggering a massive manhunt and bringing in FBI profiler John Douglas. A few days later, a phone call told the family where they could find Sherry's body. But when 9-year-old Deborah May Helmick was kidnapped from her front yard, it confirmed investigators' fears that Smith's murder was no random act. A serial killer was evolving, and the only way to stop him was to deploy a strategy to manipulate his psyche, using the study of criminal behavior to anticipate his next move before he could kill again. In other words, real-life Criminal Minds here, folks. One of the most haunting investigations of Douglas's storied career, this case details how eerily accurate how the eerily accurate profile he created, combined with the bravery of Sherry's family, dedicated police work, and cutting-edge forensic science to catch serial killer Larry Gene Bell. As Sherry's family took incredible personal risks to lure Bell from the shadows, Douglas and the FBI pushed criminal profiling to its limits, culminating in one of the most dramatic and effective confrontations with a sadistic and remorseless serial killer. I think I remember seeing, like, Investigation Discovery, like, special on this on these murders. So, it's going to be on the shelf pretty soon. Another drink of coffee. Sorry, I'm getting scratchy throat from all this talking. I don't usually talk this much. Anything But My Phone Mom by Warnie Cohen Sandler, PhD, Raising Emotionally Resilient Daughters in the Digital Age. Okay, between smartphones, social media, and cyberbullying, the world is changing. Technology is transforming how girls identify themselves, learn, and communicate with the people around them. As a result, many mothers feel as though they are venturing into alien territory. But the good news is that regardless of your technological skill, you are still the best person to guide your daughter through all the chaos of adolescence. So, book for women who have book for mothers who have daughters. Okay. Which one should I grab next? Food IQ. 100 questions, answers, and recipes to raise your cooking smarts. Looks pretty good. It's got some pretty nice pictures in it. Got some pretty good explanations, it looks like. I'm not going to read the blurb on this because it is basically a cookbook. With some sciencey stuff in there, but still a cookbook. This is perfect for Black History Month. Civil Rights Queen, Constance Baker Motley, and the Struggle for Equality. Born to an aspirational working-class family during the Great Depression, Constance Baker Motley was expected to make a career as a hairdresser. Instead, she earned a law degree and used it to transform American society. For many years, the only woman member of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund's legal team, Motley helped litigate Brown versus the Board of Education, defended Martin Luther King in Birmingham, and played a critical role in vanquishing Jim Crow laws throughout the South. During a second act, she broke barriers in politics by becoming the first woman elected borough president of Manhattan, and the first black woman elected to the New York State Senate. In a third act that capped her career, she was the first black woman appointed to the federal judiciary, becoming both a symbol of change into the American power structure and a part of it, an outsider within the system that she had long fought. This deeply researched and incisive examination of gender, race, and class tells the inspiring story of a remarkable American life and of a tumultuous period of social change. Against the backdrop of Motley's path-breaking life, Tomiko Brown Nagin? I'm going to say it's Nagin. Ponders some of our most timeless and urgent questions. How do historically marginalized people access the corridors of power? How does access to power shape individuals committed to social justice? And what is the price of the ticket? So, yeah, that sounds like a good read for this month. In fact, it sounds like a good read for any month, but especially for this month. So, looks like this box is all nonfiction stuff. So, oh, The Woman Beyond the Attic, the V.C. Andrews story by Andrew Niederman. best known for her internationally multi-million copy best-selling novel Flowers in the Attic, Cleo Virginia Andrews lived a fascinating life. Born to modest means, she came of age in the American South during the Great Depression and faced a series of increasingly challenging health issues. Yet once she rose to global literacy fame, she prided herself on her intense privacy. Now, The Woman Beyond the Attic aims to connect her personal life with the novels that made her famous. Based on Virginia's own letters and interviews with her dearest family members, this book explores her full story for the first time. This eye-popping look at the life of Virginia Andrews reveals a new side of the enigmatic woman behind one of the most important novels of the 20th century. Featuring family photographs, personal letters, a partial manuscript of an unpublished novel, and more. The Woman Beyond the Attic is perfect for VC Andrew fans who pick up every new novel, or those wanting to return to their favorite novelist of their adolescence. Okay, her books were not my favorite. I cannot read Flowers in the Attic. It makes me cry and feel very uncomfortable, and I cannot read it. However, I might give this a pick up because I do like biographies. Welcome to the Grief Club, because you don't have to go through it alone, by Janine Kuo. Welcome to the club that no one ever wants to join, but so many of us end up needing. We're sorry that you're here. Based on her own experiences with grief, the author's partner died when they were both in their late 20s, and those of other Grief Club members, Janine Kuo uses brief writings, illustrations, and creative diagrams to explore the wide range of emotions and experiences that grief can encompass. For anyone who has lost a loved one or is close to someone who is grieving, Welcome to the Grief Club is a book of solace, connection, hope, and reassurance. So, sounds pretty good. We know a lot more people are going to need that soon. Wanderess, the Unearthed Women Guide to Traveling Smart, Safe, and Solo. Wanderess is an interactive travel resource written by women for women who love to travel, who love to explore the world. It features expert tips from leading women in the travel industry, and you'll find everything you need to experience life-changing adventures, both near and far. And because travel is not one-size-fits-all experience, our experts offer helpful advice for specific travelers. Whether you're a woman of color, a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, or an expecting or new mom, from planning your first solo trip to tips on volunteering abroad, you will be inspired by Wanderess to travel in a way that's smarter, safer, and smoother, all while supporting local women. Three more books in this box. And one of them is a cookbook. Plant You. 140 ridiculously easy, amazingly delicious, plant-based, oil-free recipes. So, healthy with pretty pictures and recipes, and I'm not going to read any more into it. It's a cookbook. And, ooh, Joe Miller, Dr. I cannot, and then the next two, I cannot pronounce your names. I'm going to attempt it. I am sorry if I pronounce them wrong. Dr. Özlem Türeci and Dr. Ugur Sahin. Look, I'm sorry that I don't know how to pronounce them. If anyone does know how to pronounce them, let me know. And the book is called The Vaccine: Inside the Race to Conquer the COVID-19 Pandemic. Let's see. Nobody thought it was possible. In mid-January 2020, Ugur Sahin told Özlem Türeci, his wife and decades-long research partner, that a vaccine against what would soon be known as COVID-19 could be developed safely injected into the arms of millions before the end of the year. His confidence was built upon almost 30 years of research. While working to revolutionize the way that cancerous tumors are treated, the couple had explored a volatile and overlooked molecule called messenger RNA. They believed it could be harnessed to redirect the immune system's forces against any number of diseases. As the founders of BioNTech, they faced widespread skepticism from the scientific community at first. But by the time SARS-CoV-2 was covered in Wuhan, China, BioNTech was prepared to deploy cutting-edge technology to create the world's first clinically approved inoculation for the coronavirus. The vaccine draws back the curtain on one of the most important medical breakthroughs of our age. It reveals how the doctors were able to develop 20 vaccine candidates within weeks, convince Big Pharma to support their ambitious project, navigate political interference from the Trump administration and the European Union, and provide more than 3 billion doses of the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine to countries around the world in record time. As a note, that's the vaccine that I got. So, the other one, the Moderna one, is the one that Dolly Parton actually had help funding. So, more lifeblood. I'm scratchy from all the talking. Oh. America. Second, how America's elites are making China stronger. The past few years have seen relations between China and the United States shift from enthusiastic economic partners to wary frenemies to open rivals. Americans have been slow to wake up to the challenges posed by the Chinese Communist Party. Why did this happen, and what can we do about it? So if that is your thing, we have a book for you. I'm not really much into economics or politics, but that does sound like an interesting read. Okay, that was all that was in this box. I'm going to pack them all up, get them over to our cataloger's desk. I'm going to keep on talking. So, as I've said before, the way a book goes from, us getting it in to it getting out on the shelf is, and I'm cutting this down to the simplest, is it comes in, we open up the book, we open up the box. Sometimes they're already done with all the labels on it for us. It's an extra cost. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we want to tear our hair out because they get the labels wrong. It's happened. Okay, and then these go to our cataloger. That's Misty. And Misty gets them put into our catalog, which is evergreen. It's an OPAC for over 100 libraries here in Indiana. If you haven't, checked out, if you guys aren't from Indiana, no worries, you can still check it out. It's a really nice system. Nice, user-friendly when it comes to searching for stuff most of the time. They've tweaked stuff on the working end that makes me want to go, but that's on our end, not on yours, so it's still easy to search for your guys' stuff. Give me just a minute, I will be right back. I've got to take this to there. So, I will be right back, and we will do our last box. Why are your books so heavy? Okay, I'm back. We are going to be down to our last box, which is this one from Ingram. And this one actually tells us what's inside of it, which is why I like the boxes from Ingram. you're wondering what this little pile of books over here is for, they're going into the library boxes that we have around town. If you don't know where those are, there's one at each of the schools. And then there's one at Sportland Park. There's one at the park in Fairview. One at the Black Diamond Fire Department. One out front of the Universal Township building. If you live in Universal, you know where I'm talking about. There's also one out in front of the library, too. It's over by the Pergola. Hey, Ashley, have anything you want to say to the people on live? While I struggle getting this open. Scissors. I got them.
There are new discussion questions on book grid
for
our book club.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we have a book club. It's called Lit Circle. The book for this month is called Ashfall by Mike Mullen. He's an Indiana author. He's from Indianapolis. And there's a, we're using Flipgrid to like do all the talky bits about it. So it's not even in person. So any of you guys who are not from Indiana who want to join us up for it, go ahead. We will talk to you guys about it. We have fun talking about books. Got it open. Okay, so these are the last two books for today's live. Great having you all here. This first one is The Anomaly by Harvey Letellier. I don't know if I mispronounced it, I'm sorry, but I'm horrible at reading foreign names, especially the French. Why does French have so many letters that don't get pronounced? Okay. Who would we be? Who would we be if we had made different choices? What world would we be living in? In their own way, the passengers of Air France 006 were all living double lives when they boarded the Paris-New York flight. Blake, a respectable family man who covertly works as a contract killer. Slim Boy, a Nigerian pop star who uses his womanizing image to hide that he's gay. Joanna, a black American lawyer pressured to play the good old boys game to succeed with her big pharma client. Victor, a critically acclaimed yet largely obscure writer, suddenly on the precipice of global fame. About to start their descent into JFK, they hit a shockingly violent patch of turbulence, emerging on the other side to a reality both perfectly familiar and utterly strange. An ingenious time variation on the doppelganger theme, The Anomaly taps into parts of ourselves that elude us most. This seems to be a very similar-ish kind of, plot. Well, not similar. Kind of similar-ish plot to, like, that one Stephen King novel or story, The Langoliers. The Langoliers. Okay, next up, children's book. Whose track is that? Spotting animals in the wild is tricky, but they leave plenty of clues behind, especially tracks. Examine the evidence, study the animal tracks, and see if you can guess whose track is that. That's nice, learning field sign. Especially ones you don't want to see. Like bear. And cougar. Anyways, it's by Stan Tekiela. Okay. Sounds like an awesome thing. Okay, give me just 1 second. I've got to grab something to show you guys. So, this is the book that Ashley and I were talking about. It's Ashfall by Mike Mullen. It's basically an end-of-the-world plot, but as the world is ending. So it's kind of like a dystopia fiction without the dystopia. Under the bubbling hot springs and geysers of Yellowstone National Park is a supervolcano. Most people don't know it's there. The caldera is so large that it can only be seen from a plane or satellite. It could just be overdue for an eruption, which would change the landscape and climate of our planet. For Alex, being left alone for the weekend means having the freedom to play computer games and hang out with his friends without hassle from his mother. Then the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts, plunging his hometown into a nightmare of darkness, ash, and violence. Alex begins a harrowing trek to search for his family and find help in Darla, a travel partner he meets along the way. Together they must find the strength and skills to survive and outlast an epic disaster. NPR's Top 5 YA Novels for 2011, Kirkus Review's Best Teen Books 2011, YALSA Best Fiction 2011 selection, ABA 2011 New Voices selection, and ABC 2011 Best Books for Children. So this thing has won many awards. And I'm just going to get this over here so I can show you what the cover looks like. I win. Here's the cover. If you happen to be local to Clinton, Indiana, we do have copies available for you. I gotta get this put back together. We are this goes here, and this goes here, and this goes up here, and attaches here. And even if you're not in the area, you can still participate because we have this going on online as well. You can see that. There we go. There's the QR code. If you can't read the QR code, or if you don't have a reader to read the QR code and you can't pause this, you can go to flipgrid.com/6BBC3364 to be able to access our online questions. We have a new question posted. That's what Ashley said earlier. I haven't looked at it. Bad me. We had one of our other staff members, our cataloger, the one sitting way out there. Yeah, that's Misty. She recorded the first paragraph. If you guys just want to have like a good idea of what's going on. Oh, hey, new dude. Well, that's all we got in today. It's been nearly an hour. Was not expecting it to take this long. But hey, it was fun. It was our first live. If you guys like this kind of stuff, we're doing other stuff. We're doing funny stuff. Next month, we'll be having the all-day live on our other features. Maybe on this one too. So, I'm going to see you and we're going to say bye. Because we are done. See ya.